Take my hands.
Why is it so important, Ismini? Don and I are no longer apart. We're together, and I'm content.
Don't fight me, Anne, whatever you do. I beg you.
It didn't work the other day. What makes you so certain we'll be successful tonight?
When we tried before, what image of your husband were you holding in your mind?
As I had seen him that afternoon in the village.
Well, now I want you to remember him at some happy time you spent together in England. A time perhaps long ago. However he appeared to you here, on Rhodes. Dismiss those memories altogether. Try that. Good. Good. Now keep that image firmly fixed. Yes, Anne. Yes. I see him clearly this time. This time. Nearly. Nearly. Almost there. Stay with me, Anne. Stay with me. Now. He's here. In the room with us. Do you feel it? Do you feel his presence?
Yes. He's close. Very close. Oh, Don. You're here. You're here.
Oh, thank God. Anne. Love. At last. At last.
It's Don speaking.
He's using David as a channel. We can ask no more than that. And it is enough. Anne needs your help. Take us back. Back to when you were here on Rhodes. And to that last night.
Afterwards, I tried. In London, I tried to reach. Many times I wanted to tell her what it was important.
Yes, I know. I know. So now, tell her now.
My death, Anne. My death. It wasn't an accident. He made it happen. Lavalier. He's...
Go on.
The day I arrived, I saw Joseph Marcus. That was the first surprise. According to what they'd said on television, Marcus was supposed to be with the Prime Minister that weekend talking about... I don't remember what. But that's what he was supposed to be doing. I didn't think much more about it, though. His meeting at Chequers could have been called off for all I knew. But that evening, when I saw Emmerich Niederman with the same fella, well, that really got me curious. The top man of the world's second largest multinational and the biggest private banker in Switzerland, both slipping into Rhodes in the one day. And the same reception committee for each of them. So where was the party? And who was throwing it? I found out the following day. Remo Manzini, the next Prime Minister of Italy. or so they say. This was getting to be quite a gathering. I needed to get a lot closer to that castle, although I couldn't see me being very welcome. And I was right. So, okay. I couldn't get in through the front door. In that case, I'd come back when it was dark and try some other way. And that's when I first saw Raoul Lavalier. It was easy. Too easy. I should have realized that. But then how was I to know that I was expected?
Good brother, knowing the hardships which are within, knowing that if you are admitted, you who are lord of yourself will make yourself a servant of another, and that any claim on you by man, woman, or child shall be forfeited to the greater good, and that the road that you travel will be arduous and without promise of reward. Knowing these things, is it your wish to proceed?
It is my wish.
So be it. Therefore, in accordance with the rule, as prescribed on the foundation of our noble parent order, let the examination begin.
Are you Willem Ruyter? Any man serve?
I am not.
Are you aware of the great rigors of this house?
I am.
Do you now forswear and renounce any vow of fealty, allegiance, or subscription hitherto made by you?
I do.
In what do you believe?
In the supremacy of the order above all else, and in the justness of our cause.
Which is?
Right to those born to it, might to those who use it to that end. The humiliation and destruction of those who oppose it.
For the common good?
For the common good.
And by any means.
And by any means.
Brother Knights, this man, having been examined and having answered well, stands on the threshold of this brotherhood. If there is anyone among you who knows of any reason why, according to our rule, he should not fully be admitted, say so now. For it is better that such a thing is said before, rather than after he has come among us. Is it your wish, then, that he joins us? In the name of us all, let it be so.
Sire, I have come before you and the brothers of this order to beg and require you to accord to me your company and the benefits of this house, as one who will henceforth always be its servant and slave.
Good brother, you are asking a great thing. To achieve it, will you now swear on pain of death in default that henceforth, all the days of your life, you will obey the master of this brotherhood and any commander placed above you, that you will uphold the custom of our house, and that you will never desert this order, neither through strength nor weakness, neither in worse times nor better.
I do so swear.
Then so be it. Arise, Chevalier Villenruta, Knight of the Brotherhood of the survivors of the 13th.
Bon séance!
I'd heard and seen it all. Still, I couldn't really believe it. Some of the most powerful men in Europe banded together in a fascist brotherhood, apparently based on an old order of knights. But it was real. It was happening right in front of me. And I had to have the story of the century, with pictures. Only then it happened.
Good evening, Mr. Tierney.
Do not let him get away.
No, that is unnecessary. Remain where you are.
They were everywhere. Hundreds of them. I'm okay with most things, but not rats. I could see them swarming all over me. Feel them. Smell them. Run. Run. That's how it was. I wanted to tell you before, love. I tried. I tried. But I couldn't.
But I saw you. I saw you. They wouldn't believe me. They said I was crazy.
I tried. But then I sort of drifted. Further away.
No, Don. You only left me for a little while. But I found you again. You were waiting for me here. I saw you. You were in the pictures I took. And you've taken me in your arms more than once. And you gave me a pendant. Remember?
I loved you, Anne. Always will. But don't screw your life up because of this. Find someone else. Someone who'll make you happy. Find someone. Promise me. Promise.
No! It's you I want, Don. No one else but you. As it is with us now, that's enough. Don! Don! Don't leave me, please, I beg you! Don! Don!
The contact is broken, Anne. I couldn't have held it for much longer anyway. I was already losing him.
He was murdered by Lavalier. He killed him in the same way as he tried to kill David. He murdered him coldly, cruelly, and then yesterday he asked me...
I need a drink.
I don't understand. Don could have told me. He could have told me that.
You heard him. He tried. He could not.
But not in London, perhaps, but here on Rhodes. That first night when he came to me, surely he could have told me then. You don't believe me, do you? You don't believe that he ever came to me like that? I imagined it or dreamt it. That's what you think, isn't
Anne.
it? Oh, you don't understand! It wasn't a phantom that made love to me. It was a warm, vital being with my husband's face and my husband's body. So it has to have been Don. I mean, who else could it have been? No. No!
Recently, he has become very close to the Pontiff, and he has considerable influence with the Holy Father. What's more, he has every qualification.
I agree. His Eminence is ideally suited to become one of us. Put his name forward at the inner conclave, Manzini, and I will support it.
How is she?
Calmer. I've given her a sedative. I doubt if she would get much sleep, though. Are you all right?
Nothing like that's ever happened to me before. I hope to God it doesn't again. It was as if I was there when it happened. I saw it all as if I was Tierney. As you must have done, I suppose.
And what did you make of that ceremony?
Well, Costello's obviously the headquarters of some sort of cabal. A bloody powerful one, too, it would seem. A sort of neo-Nazi Freemasonry, modelled on the Knights Templar. It's incredible. It's frightening.
You're certain of that, are you? The Templars are the root of this organization.
Absolutely. I mean, the costumes, the regalia, that's what they were like. And that induction ritual, that's exactly how a postulant was admitted to the order in the old days, practically word for word. Besides, the name they're using, the Brotherhood of the Survivors of the 13th, that's damn near proof enough on its own.
Why?
Well, because it was on the 13th of April, 1307, that the master of the Templars and most of the knights in France were arrested.
But not Thibault de Montfort.
No. Not Thibault de Montfort. He'd got well clear by then. He was one of the original survivors. And he went on surviving a good few years. So, knowing what we do now, where do we go from here? I mean, yesterday, after Lavalier tried to get rid of me, you were dead set against going to the police. Do you still feel the same?
Yes. And for the same reason. They wouldn't believe us. Besides, there's much more to it than just Tierney's murder and the existence of this organization, isn't there?
Oh, such as?
Speak your thoughts, David. Trust me with your suspicions.
I don't know what you're talking about. Suspicions? I mean, there are a hell of a sight more than suspicions, aren't there? I mean, we know Lavalier killed Tierney and that he's the leading light in a revival of one of the old military orders. It's probably his idea in the first place, as a sort of memorial to his infamous ancestor.
Tybalt de Montfort, of whom, as you have already told me, he is the twin. De Montfort, in your own words, the original survivor.
What are you suggesting?
That Lavalier not only resembles de Montfort, he is de Montfort.
To those who have gone before us, those among us, and those who will come after us, the Brotherhood.
The Brotherhood!
How could she? I mean, Anne is an intelligent woman. Deep down, she must have known.
She wasn't thinking. I doubt if she ever questioned it seriously, either as a dream or as reality.
It was Lavalier who came to her. You're positive of that?
She has the pendant her lover gave her. The same pendant which once belonged to Agnes Beauvoir. And that jewel was never in Dom Tierney's possession.
That doesn't prove that Lavalier and de Montfort are one and the same. Oh, all right. So, Agnes Beauvoir was de Montfort's mistress, and he may well have given her the pendant in the first place. And it would be entirely in character if he'd snatched it back again after he'd killed her, but... I mean, it could have been handed down to Lavalier through the family.
Yes, it could have been. But we know how one received it. So even if we are wrong about Lavalier's earlier identity, and I don't think that we are still left with the certainty that it was he who appeared to her as her husband.
But why?
To divert Anne from trying to contact Tierney again, and in that way perhaps uncovering the truth of his death. And in that he succeeded, until tonight. But also because he wanted her, and had done from the moment he first saw her. If for no other reason than because she so closely resembles the woman whose portrait he keeps on his desk. The woman who, as Tybalt de Montfort, he strangled because he believed, as had been prophesied, that the child she was carrying will somehow destroy him.
But it must be realized that it will not be possible to secure a monopoly overnight. We will need to prepare very carefully.
No one is suggesting any other course, Mancini. We all of us fully realize that...
Meurtre?
That will be all for tonight. There are some dispatches which require my urgent attention. We will continue this discussion tomorrow. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Drop it. Bascom is still alive. You know everything. That is a pity.
Good night, Colonel.
Good night.
Is it at 10 or 10:30 in a conclave meeting tomorrow?
10 o'clock. But I suggest you are in your seats 5 minutes before that time. You know how the Maître dislikes being kept waiting, and there is a very full agenda.
Until tomorrow, then. Good night.
Good night, Chevalier.
Excuse me, Colonel.
What is it?
We've just received this telex from Vienna. It requires an immediate answer.
This is something the Maître must decide.
I'll take it to him at once.
No. I will give it to him.
Very well, sir.
Here. Sip this. Can you swallow all right? Try to swallow.
There's nothing there. No body, not even a trace of blood, nothing.
No, I told you.
He was badly wounded. And dying. After a fall like that, it's not possible for anyone to...
Not humanly possible, I agree. But then we are not dealing
What's the matter? What's wrong?
Nothing that need distress you further. Believe me.
David?
She has to know. And there's no sign of Lavalier anywhere out there.
But there has to be. He can't still be alive. Not after what's happened. He's dead. He must be... It's meaning I couldn't bear it.
I'm certain of it. Raoul Lavalier is dead.
Forgive me for disturbing you, Maître, but I have just received... Ach, du lieber Gott.
Where's his meanie?
Making some coffee. You sure you ought to be up and about?
Oh, I couldn't sleep. I just lay there, seeing it all again. I kept remembering.
How do you feel?
Unclean. That's about all, really.
Oh, Anne, you mustn't. It isn't as if you willingly...
Oh, I
I was willing, believe me. More than willing.
Yes, but only because you thought it was Don who'd somehow come back to you.
But it wasn't, was it? It was La Valliere. And I let him.
You ought to go home. Back to England, I mean.
Yes, I'm going. Just as soon as I can.
Best thing. What then?
Just keep going through the motions, I suppose.
Anne. I know this isn't the right time, and I know you don't. But over these past weeks, I've... Oh, hell, I'm making a bloody botch up of this. What it comes down to is... if I can help... if you'd like me there with you... But only as a friend, of course. I mean, I know it couldn't be any other way at the moment, but if you'd like someone around... someone who understands, and someone who cares... and only until you're really back on your feet again, maybe. Well, it wouldn't take me long to pack.
Oh, dear David, you've been so good to me. But I couldn't ask that of you, though. You deserve something more. Much more. And I've nothing to offer. Not enough, anyway, and the chances are you'd end up despising me as much as I do.
Oh, that's nonsense. I love you.
No, don't, please. Don't say that. I don't want anyone to love me. Anyone. Ever again.
This is a time of great sorrow and of incalculable loss to our order. A full investigation is underway, but it is already beyond any doubt that since no outsider entered the Castello last night, whoever is guilty of this foul crime is among us. He will be rooted out, and his punishment will be a fitting demonstration of our fury and our vengeance. But I tell you this, although our order has suffered a terrible blow, we will recover from it. We will. We must. We owe it to the world.
Τελευταία αγγελία για την αναχώρηση της πτήσεως 269 για Λονδίνο. Έξοδος επιβιβάσεως αριθμός 5. Your attention, please. This is the last call for the departure of Olympic Airways. Flight number 269 to London.
Goodbye, Ismini.
Immediate boarding gate number 5.
I wish...
So do I.
I'll write. You give me a call next time you're in London, won't you?
Of course.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
I'll miss you.
Glad to hear it.
Shall I see you when you return to England?
If you'd like that.
Yes, I would.
Rely on it, then. She's going to be all right, isn't she?
Yes, I think so. But on the way back, we stop and light a candle for her. 2, perhaps. 1 for Anne, and 1 for all of us. Ne? This is Dr. Hristoyani speaking. Who's that? Yes, I am. Why? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I really am most grateful to you, Dr. Christianis, for having come all this way, and so promptly, too. I can get very little out of Mrs. Tierney as to exactly what happened to her while she was on Rhodes. Almost nothing, in fact. Although clearly it's there that the root of her present problem lies. During one of our sessions, though, she did mention your name. And I got the impression she looks on you as a close personal friend, and not just as another psychiatrist. That being so, I thought perhaps you might be willing to...
Of course, sir. I want to help in any way I can. She attempted to kill herself, you said on the telephone.
Sleeping tablets.
When?
A week ago. Fortunately, she was discovered before it was too late.
In none of her letters to me since she returned to England was there as much as a hint that she was under any great stress. In fact, I was greatly encouraged by them.
When did you last hear from her?
2 weeks ago.
She wouldn't have been finally convinced then.
Convinced of what?
That she's pregnant?
Pregnant? But I understood that...
That she cannot have any children?
Yes.
She can't. And in her case, it's not just a psychological problem. It never was. It's a physiological impossibility. As you can see from her medical records, it would require nothing short of a miracle to correct that deficiency. Nevertheless, as of this moment, not only does Mrs. Tierney believe she's going to have a baby, she's showing just about every physical indication that she is. The fact is, though, she is pregnant only in her mind.
Did she not consult her doctor?
Oh, yes, but not her usual GP, and that's very significant, I believe. And he, not knowing anything about her medical history, naturally told her that she'd almost certainly conceived.
But he would have carried out all the normal tests, surely.
Of course. Only Mrs. Tierney never went back for the results. My guess is that the doctor's initial diagnosis was enough for her. Her fantasy had been given all the medical confirmation she needed.
So she took an overdose?
That same day.
And since then?
It's almost as though, having failed to kill herself, she's now totally reconciled to what she considers to be inevitable. The birth of her child. And this, I think, is probably the most disturbing aspect of this case. She is clearly looking on that as some terrible form of punishment which she has to endure. What in the name of God did happen to her on Rhodes, Dr. Christoyannis?
You made an excellent choice, Signor Taviani. One I feel certain you'll never regret. It's a truly magnificent property. And very private. I felt sure it would suit you in every way.
Tell me, during the time Anne has been here, have you been able to shake her conviction that she's pregnant or to get her to question it at all?
No, and frankly, I don't consider that that would be a wise move at this moment.
No, I agree entirely. What do you know about the Australian Aborigine practice of pointing the bone, Dr. Philip Moore?
It's a form of witchcraft, Doctor, when something prophesied is brought about simply by the intended victim learning that the bone has been pointed at him from however far away, and believing his fate to be inescapable. And in that belief, it is his own fear which destroys him. And it works too, I believe.
I hope so.